Hi, and welcome to this introduction of MCP Server for the whatt.io database and back office. So what is an MCP? An MCP is basically the bridge between agentic AI and AI LLMs like typically ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. It builds this bridge between the API and the database for it to interact very easily. So basically, if you look at the connection overview, you can have Claude, the AI brain, to the left, doing requests and questions that goes through the MCP server and actually fetch and change and modify the whatt.io DPP database. Basically, you can have Claude talking directly to your physical products. And obviously, these tools are for content creators, manufacturers, product owners, to manage and work in the database. On the front end of a DPP, we have Dolores, which is more like a chatbot, like an AI assistant speaking in any language. That is not MCP Server. MCP Server is for you to manage large data sets and do comparisons and work with all the data you have to import, manage, access, and deploy in a full-fledged database management system for digital product passports. Everything from mandatory regulatory data to core data, voluntary value-add data like e-commerce, product catalogs. All of these can be everything from spell checked. You can check individual ontologies, data sets, data fields. You can do comparisons with this MCP ability with an AI agent. So if we look in the bigger picture, how does it relate to API? So API is basically what we use for development of extensions, additional tools. So for instance, the DPP validator, what we built on top of the Surpass 2 source code, that is using API. If you look at the DPP register coming soon, the same. Our command center for running Arduinos and programming NFC tags, all are using APIs. But if you go more into a relationship with an AI, we will use the MCP server that we developed and launched today. So the MCP server itself, it's a contextual protocol server hub. It sits in between the LLM and the data storage, which is the whatt.io DPP. So I am planning to do a short little demo, and this will be done with Claude. So so with Claude, it's super easy to work with the MCP. I will have another video showing how to install it because it is a little bit tricky at the moment to install. But basically, not to go into too much detail in this video, I will do much more longer kind of work group sessions where we will work our way through and you have the chance to follow. But basically you can see that you can ask Claude now for send me a product list of all the products in Infinite Acoustics that are made from recycled tires. Then it actually goes in through the MCP, finds all the different cabinets done with the material, including tire rubber. So it has this contextual level of intelligence, which is very useful when you have a lot of data in your database. And of course, it also lists components, accessories, and so on. So it's actually pretty smart using the MCP server. And then I asked for the Krypton range and these kind of things. And you can see then what PDFs, what parts are involved. So here you see that continuing on the material itself, is there anything on the part side that have this material of tire rubber? And yes, there is two parts. It's the cabinet and the feet are printed, 3D printed with this material. The other subcomponents part are not. So you have the ability to really use this Claude in this case to compare products, go deep into the ontology and the data fields. And for instance, I asked them for a tweeter, a driver called CMPN0113. What products is that linked to? And I get a list of the products, so it goes in reverse, goes through the products, the speakers, and comes back and say, yes, there is 3 products using this tweeter. But it also lists another 4 products and say they have not. They actually have the CMP0114, which is a larger tweeter. So this is like super useful for me when I work with this. So then I can let's do some live. So can we look at the subwoofer? So there is subwoofers. There's actually one active and one passive. So let's see what it finds out and what it will answer. Yeah, you see which subwoofer. So it's really smart. Okay, the active one. And I want to know if there is what kind of PDFs are linked up. So here it says, okay, I can show the image. So if I want to show the image, I actually have to open a link. So let's do that. Here, this is the one. And it also lists up the materials, the description, the different parts, and these type of things. So please tell me what PDFs are attached to this product's DPP, because I want to know that. So now it goes in. Let's see what it answers. So based on the data, yeah, here are the PDFs attached. So you see there is assembly instructions, but however, I'm missing data sheets and a lot of other material is missing. So this is of course something I really need to fix, and I can compare this now to other products and look out what kind of reach or ROC or test report files are included in other speakers, and then I can have these added and so on. So we can work on the missing certificate. So for validation and for working with large data sets, this is really a nice addition to whatt.io. So yeah, so this was all I had in this pretty short introduction of the MCP server. So I hope you will be able to use Claude and this MCP very soon in your project. Thank you.